Walked into the jacuzzi at the gym one day.
That's where I met him.
There sat James on one side and his buddy Charles on the other side. And I sat down, and we're the only the three of us in there. And Charles said to James, "James, how's it working out with the grandbaby?" James says, "Well, Charles, as you know, I told my son that I would not take her unless it was done legally, and I adopted her so that he could never have anything to say about raising her again." "Well, how's that working out?" I said, "Well, when she came to me, she was 9 years old. That was a year and a half ago. She was a 1.0 student. And I told the girl, you do not leave this house until you're a 4.0. She is now a 4.0, Charles. Well, I had to get in the conversation. And as a result of that, I had a number of breakfasts with James and Charles and lunches, and I began to learn more and more and more about the man. You will learn a great deal if you read the bio. I approached James. I said, "James, do you do public speaking?" He said, "Yeah." He said, I have many years of public speaking to adult groups, children groups, military, etc. I said, "Would you come and speak at our Fallbrook Club?" Not knowing what he was going to talk about, never discussed it. He said, "Yes, I would." So he came and he spoke at the Fallbrook Rotary. Right after that, a vision hit me, and I'm going to tell you about that vision a little bit later. I discussed that vision with James, and he was absolutely on board, but he said, "Don, you know, I'm just now interviewing for several professorships. I've been offered several executive positions in large companies. And yes, I admit to you, I told you the one thing I want to do for the rest of my life is dedicated to helping the children of this nation, developing leaders, and teaching them how to be successful." I said, "Well, when you're ready, let me know." I had to go to Mexico. I'm building a fishing business down there, and I was down there for about 2 months, and I got an email from James. He said, "Don, I'm ready." So I said, "Swab the deck, sailor, and lock and load. I'm on my way." So I came home, and this was just about 2 months ago that we began to put the James Cooley Charitable Foundation organization together. We just today received a C35, which is the charitable. We should have the corporation completed soon. The last 2 months, James has developed a training manual that I swear to God it's this thick. And I've been doing a lot of volunteer work to include getting him set up to speak at the Rancho California Rotary Club, the Bonzo Rotary Club, etc., etc. James has worked for years with children, Boys Club, sports, educational. This is not some new field that he's entering. So I'm going to now tell you my vision. I said, "James, do you know, if we could tie in with the wonderful Rotary that has hundreds of thousands of members throughout the world, thousands of clubs throughout the United States, and if we could get one Rotary Club to sponsor you, we would record some of your talks as we're going to do tonight. We would send the clubs of the United States a DVD that says, 'Mr. Chairman, this is coming on the letterhead of the Old Town Rotary Club. Please take a moment and listen to this, and if you think it's worthy, when you don't have a speaker, play it for your members.'" And I said, "Further, James, my vision says the following." James told me that he talks to people, and we humans have the ability to retain 25% of what we hear and 40% of what we read. But in a short period of time, that begins to drift away also. And he said, "My biggest problem is I bring the children into classrooms, I bring him into my basic training classes, as he's done at Camp Pendleton with 300 members just recently. And I get them sort of wound up, but then they go back to their home and their environment, and it all kind of just drifts away. And I said, James, wouldn't it be wonderful if every Rotarian and every Rotary club throughout this nation volunteered to be a big brother or a big sister? And he said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, just someone that this child that you've trained can now have a mentor, a person that they can go talk to. Maybe the Rotarian would take them to Disneyland, have them over for dinner. Maybe the Rotarian would sit and tell them about his history so that they could begin to understand that there are choices in life. I think it would be a win-win, because I think if the Rotary got involved in this and the International Rotary got involved in this, I think new members would flow to join the Rotary Club to be involved in a program like this. So I've heard James speak once. No, twice. About 10 days ago, James invited me to go with him to the naval base in San Diego, where he was the only guest speaker speaking to the Master Chiefs of the world. The Master Chiefs were all flown in to the naval base. There was about 80 of them. If you don't understand, there's many Master Chiefs, and then there's a Master Chief, and then there's a Master Chief, and then there's a Focus Chief. The Focus Chief is out of the Pentagon. Okay, and he's the one that asked James to come and speak, and now they're asking James to come and speak to the Air Wing of the Navy. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my dear friend, James.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Madam President. Rotarians, yes, thanks. Great introduction, but let me tell you how this really got started. I know Don had mentioned several times to look at the bio. That's just on paper, but let me tell you where James Cooley came from. I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was born 7 or 10 kids by a mother, had 6 different fathers, and never was married. And so I can tell you that where I came from, in the projects, a lot of people call it ghetto or whatever you want to call it, but it was tough, and there was no way out. It's a circle that we call into, where the only way to get out of that circle is you have to be innovative and think, or just take off running. Can't get away. Generation to generation to generation. Now, my mom had 10 kids, like I said, and my mom decided to send me and my brother Jerry, who was 6 and I was 7. I don't know where that came from out of 10, but she chose us to. And she sent us to Alabama to live with my aunt and uncle. Now, I tell you, in Tennessee, where I just told you, we didn't have a whole lot. But I went to Alabama. I went to a place where we did not have running water. We had a well. You had to wind it up. Outhouse that we had to walk out and actually this existed. Corn fields and cattle. That's how we. But you know what? I felt rich. I felt rich coming from that environment to an environment where it wasn't modern, if you say that. But the love and the nourishment and everything that we had there kind of gave me the foundation that I'm standing here in front of you guys talking about today. So I stayed there for about 5 years. And I asked to go back. Guess what? I went back to the same environment that I had left. And in this environment was so tough. Seeing somebody get killed was nothing. You see somebody get shot, you just what you do. You keep walking. So we had to endure that. Now, a lot of the kids, including myself, no one had never told, especially me, that I was worth anything, that I could do anything. When I was in the 9th grade, I had a teacher, Miss Wilson, came to me and said, "James, are you planning on going to the high school right up the street, which is still total failure?" She said, "I think that you got some type of source, and I think you need to get away. And this is a school across town called Kirkland Technical High School." She said, "I think that you can get in there." And no one had ever told me anything that, I even took the time to tell me that I could do anything. So what she did was, you have to test to get into the school. And she made an arrangement to take me over to the school. And I took the test and I did well. So I ended up going to that school. 3 years, did extremely well. But I'm still stuck in the same environment. I still can't get away. One day, just like Robert Frost, you guys remember that, the road less traveled? I think something like that. It goes, just to give a quick scenario, you're walking down that road, single road. Everybody know where that road ends because it's straight. Especially if we have paradigm and tunnel vision. You walk down that road, you only see straight. Well, I was walking down that road as well. But I let my paradigm down. So I would walk down that road and I saw straight, all these thousands and thousands of footsteps going straight. But kind of look to the left, wow. There was some footsteps going to a path on the left, and there was footsteps going to a path on the right. So I said, this is my opportunity. Now I got options here. I see, instead of one road, there was potentially 3 roads. But guess what? All the footsteps went straight pretty much, except a couple on each side. I decided to take that risk. And I turned left. And I walked down the road left and I saw a bus that came by. I jumped on that bus. The bus said Navy. So I jumped on that bus. It said Navy. I went into the Navy. And as the bus was going down, as I got in the Navy, a lot of options opened up. Options. And with options, we know that for every option that we have, there is numerous potential opportunities. But the thing that we have to make as kids, as adults, as leaders, is choices. So it's all about the choice. You have the option, you have the opportunity, more than one if you got options. But we still have to make the right choice. So I wanted to share that with you before I go into the presentation. You have the X or the inputs, different, it could be several inputs. But I think that everything is based on that philosophy. And I do believe that I do believe that's how things are.
Control 8. Hit Control 8. You have to do an external screen.
Organization. And the foundation, the organization has to set the culture, the policies, the procedures, and they have to make sure that they have the right amount or leaders with the right type of style. I mean, one style do not fit the whole leadership process. So, what is an organization? I just told you. My thing is, here we go. Now we're back. Let's talk about the plan. Everything is based on the youth, and I'll tell you what, and that comes from the organization. And I'm just going to talk from the heart, okay? It comes from the organization, and anytime you have an organization, you have to have a plan. And a plan, in my opinion, you know, we set a plan. It has to be documented. It just cannot be up here. You have to document it on paper, otherwise it's not a plan, it's just a thought. So once it's documented, we call that the strategic business plan. Once it's documented, we have to be committed to what we put on paper. But that's not going to get us, because there are going to be things that come up, situations that's going to appear, that's going to take us off the plan or our commitment. But the key to it is we must be focused. If we got a plan, we're going to stick with it. We have to focus on staying on track. That's what we have to do when it comes to the youth. When it comes to the youth, everything to me is about the youth. You know, the worldview says that there's 3 different types of leaders, or 3 different types of people. You got 87% are considered followers. You know, they just follow anything that anyone tells them. You got 10% that gonna buck the system. They're gonna sabotage. They're gonna go their way. They're not gonna stay focused. So you got 3%, which I think everybody in here is probably 3%. They're leaders. They set the tone. They stay focused, and they are the ones that really makes a difference. Everybody makes a difference, don't get me wrong, but they really make a difference for us leading the other 97%. So I'm a 3%, and I think everybody in this room is a 3%. And so, and we have to stay there. But how does this work when it comes to our youth? You know, first of all, I think that when it comes to the youth, we today's time, I call it youth versus generation, because right now it's a generation change, different than what we were brought up to see. Our youth tend to think that they're entitled to whatever. They tend to think that they don't have to follow the system, follow the rules, go to school, or do anything. They also think that they're in charge of their parents. You cannot parent the same way that we used to, otherwise you get locked up, you go to jail. But as parents, as leaders, we got to take that back. We got to take it back. Now, a lot of other parents utilize a lot of these different services, like the Boys Club, Girls Club, a lot of different organizations, to just drop their kids off, or either they don't know what their kids are doing at all. They just let them roam about. And then, the minute that trouble hits, they say, man, I didn't know little Johnny or little Susie was doing this. We call that parenting abroad. Parenting abroad. I think that what we need to do right now is to get control over that. And it starts with the parents. Meaning that when your kids are going somewhere, we need to know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, who they're hanging out with. We have to be more observant of the kids and bring that discipline back. that we have lost. I call that parenting in the shadow. When you parent in the shadow, you know what your kids are doing. You know what they are. You know what type of kids. You know who their friends are. You know all of these things. In order for us to get the youth back, we have to get control of that. So it starts at home. Can we do it by ourselves? No. So we have to create programs that's going to create programs for the kids and the youth, but we also have to get their parents involved. We have to get them involved in everything that we're doing. And they have to want to be involved. There's an old saying that says that it takes a village to raise one child. I know from a fact that that is a true statement. Because I look at myself, I mean, I consider myself as halfway successful, but that road that to get there was tough. And my desires is, I think I got there, and my concern is how do we pull other kids that was like me, unsure, no guidance, didn't think you had any purpose. How do we pull them back where we take control? We're not going to save everybody. We're not going to save everybody, but we're going to save a few. So, in order to be successful in doing this, first of all, I do believe that we have to get away from the I, me, and the my. It doesn't work. What we need to do, we have to go with the we, us, and ours. I'm talking about as a community, as leaders, as business owners, as parents. We have to team together ourselves first, and then bring the kids on and get control of it. So when we team together as the we, us, and ours, that's one portion of team. But then we still have to put the work in. It's not easy. Yeah, so team plus doing the work, that equals teamwork. Teamwork. And one of the ways of getting that done is to understand what I call the 4 C's. 4 C's, we have to understand that collectively. The first C, I call create. Create, in my opinion, is create ideas and allow everybody else to create ideas. And we bring those ideas together. And that's including the kids, the youth, the principals, the teachers, everybody. Once we bring the create, which is the first C, we bring those things together and then we collaborate. Collaborate is having a meeting, getting together, putting these ideas. I mean, you have about 30, 40 ideas. We can only do 5 or 6. So we pick out the top ideas from that collaboration. And everybody's idea means something. Once we get there, we go to the third C, which I call commit. Commit. You have to commit from the create, the ideas, the collaboration from the meeting, and the top 5, 10, whatever you're going to go with. You have to commit to those. Once you commit to those, you have to be sure that we can carry those out. So, being sure to me brings up the 4th C. Confidence. That's what it's all about, confidence. Confidence, confidence. So we got create, collaborate, commit, and confidence. Once we got that on board, we can do anything. We can do anything. We can create these programs. We can talk about ideas. We can set up things. But everything comes from the organization. Whatever that might be at the time. The organization. So, I tell you, change to me, and I'm going to use this. I mean, just like Don mentioned about my grandbaby. Yes, she came here. She was struggling. Came from the same area that I was at. But you know, the only thing that she needed was what I got when I came back, and what Miss Wilson told me. She needed a little love. She needed to understand. She needed to be comfortable. So she did go from a 1.7 all the last year and this year 4.0, and set the standard. Sometimes we set the standard too high, and you have no room for dropping down because it cannot go down. It got to go up, and that's what we have to do with these kids. But in order for us to do that, we have to be able to understand change. Change to me is there's two ways you can do that. Change, the formula for change is current behavior plus vision equals change. But there is another formula. Current behavior plus intolerable pain equals change. For example, if I said, hey Stu, can you go out that door, grab a chair, bring it back in? Stu, boom, 10 steps, walk into the door. Next thing, boom, walk into the door. After 50, 60 times, you're probably gonna see some blood going down. But current behavior. What I mean, that's current behavior. Maybe I didn't communicate it right. I said, well, Stu, why don't you, instead of taking 9 steps, take 8, stop, open the door, pull it, and walk out. Current behavior plus vision equals change. Current behavior plus intolerable pain equals change. We have to be able to change the current behavior of our youth today. So we have to be innovative. We have to be motivated. And we have to be dedicated as a group, as a team, in order to get that done. So I think that in order for us to do that, it takes a special type of leader or leaders, because in order to be able to input this change, you have to be able to influence, and you have to be a leader. And Webster's got a dictionary that says what a leader is. It says a leader is a person or organization who guides, direct, and able to influence. But I think that a leader is a person that knows the way, that goes the way, but most importantly, shows the way. You have to be out front. You have to be out front. And you know, everybody, you just cannot just grab somebody and put them in a leadership position. A leader is chosen by design. By design. What I mean by that, that means coming up through a system. A system of systems. Chosen by design. So, that's what it's going to take to get our youth back in order. One other thing is this. I want to talk about, in doing this, I think that an organization or leader must be able to, again, motivate, but also have to be honest, have to have integrity, and have to have ethics. Honesty is, you know, hey, being honest. In order to be honest, first of all, you have to be honest with yourself. Integrity means, to me, saying what you mean and meaning what you say. Ethics, well, that's following the rules. We got society rules, we got organization rules, but we also have to create our own ethical rules among ourselves. Once we get that done, and once we know that, all of those things equal what we call the big C, character. That's where your character comes from. Your character comes from everything that was taught of you, the things that, you know, your success, your failures, your beliefs, all of those things. And that's, I like to call that portion core values. Core values. Everybody got their own set of core values, but those are my core values: honesty, integrity, and ethics. You know, in closing, how do we get there? How do we get our youth back online? Now, we talked about a lot of things. Most importantly, I said we must get the parents involved. The parents must be involved. And we must be able to create programs that would teach life skills. Don was telling you all about a boot camp that I did with the Marine Corps, primarily. We have about 450 kids, twice during the summer, that we put them through a 10-day boot camp over at Camp Pendleton. And we teach life skills. But guess what? They're not doing that in the civilian world. That's just the military. Now, a lot of these kids are not going to be invited to that. We have to create programs that's going to be similar to what we're doing on a naval basis. Most of these kids are what we call ROTC kids, so they're picked up. But what about the ones that we don't have programs for like that? So we have to create programs that's going to teach life skills, discipline, mentorship, the 4 C's that I just talked about. And I mentioned to you all in the beginning about the opportunity / the choice program. That's my 501c. I just started that. We're going to do it. We're gonna reach some of these kids, but in order to reach them, it's just like I said, it's going to take a whole village or a lot of people, a lot of help to do this. So I ask that I need support in doing these things. I'm not talking about just money and nothing like that. I mean, just step up to the plate and be these leaders, be these mentors. Let's go out and save our kids. Let's get them back, because they are tomorrow's leaders. They are tomorrow's leaders. Regardless of what we might think, they are the ones that's going to take over for us. They're going to lead this world. We got to make sure that we pass that torch to our kids that are capable. And in order to make them capable, we have to teach them, or we have to mentor them. We have to be there for them. We got to be part of it. In closing, I like to say that this is a good step here. I mean, I love the Rotary environment. Met a lot of great folks. You know, a lot of helpful folks. And I want to say thank you, my friend, for giving me the opportunity. You know, I'm opening up any questions anymore.
I got an observation, because being as an interact, that is the perfect environment to mentor these kids along the way. So anybody, because we have 2 clubs, so it'd be a great opportunity. Anybody who wants to get into that mentorship role, because I'll tell you, I've had conversations with some of these kids, and there are kids that are just not wanting to go the college route, but they want options, and there's 0 options for them. The high school world does not promote any trade schools, anything that they might be more bent for. So, you know, and that's something I want to change in my Interact Club. I want to have opportunities for these kids to mentor with people who maybe be in the trades, or have, you know, went that trade route, even tech trades. I mean, there's, you know, ITT and all these.
20 years, we're still going to need electricians.
Exactly.
Plumbers.
Right.
Auto technicians.
Computer geeks. I mean, that's more of a tech school now. It's not so much a college degree as it is just like
observation, just something to think about. you said something very interesting, that 83%?
87%.
You know, just follow along, 10% are troublemakers and or whatever, I'm not sure you call it.
Sabotage.
I was in the 10%, okay? Because I'm just going to say it. I just was let into the 3% last Wednesday.
I don't know. We didn't all vote yet.
Yes.
But let's keep in mind with the youth, a lot of those 87 and 10%ers, let's get them into the 3%. Let's make the 3% club 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'd just like to say, he didn't say it, but James is available to talk to any one of you about any program that you have that you think is worthy for him to become involved, come and speak to that organization. We're just getting started, and his time will be so limited. Our main objective is to set up our own private Camp Pendleton type thing all over this nation, where kids can come into this basic training. And any of you that were in the military know when you come out of basic training, you're saying yes sir and yes ma'am. You learn to clean up your room. Jim, you read his bio, and he is an instructor. And his primary desire at the end of this path is to have those kind of camps where they go through basic training while they're still in high school, then they go through educational programs, and then I think if, again, they had a Rotarian mentor that they could turn to and would follow their progress. We've changed the world. We've changed the way it currently operates. And our schools are not going to do that.
San Diego has a mentoring program. I've actually worked on it.
A little louder.
Say that again.
The city of San Diego actually has a mentor program. They actually have one for finance too, a mentor program where they assign kids. Just in Time is a phenomenal one that takes kids out of when they turn 18, they're released onto the street. They're given basically like $150 to point to an apartment complex and say go.
Oh, the ones that age out of the foster
Age out of foster care, I'm sorry.
Big Brothers are still in existence.
And but it's just a ton of programs that, whatever, I'm not.
Well, no, they should have engaged. They work with those people.
It's a lot of programs that are out there. But
Have you talked to Big Brothers? Have you talked to
I have not talked to the Big Brothers. We're just getting started. But the understanding is that what we want to do is create a college program. We want to take about 20 students, across the range real curve, opposed to just getting all the small and all, not so small. And, work with them for about 6 weeks, 2 hours on a Saturday or Sunday, for about 6 weeks. The goal is to bring the kids over here that are extremely smart and the ones that are not putting the effort out because they don't understand it. Try to team these kids up, team them up where this sector is working with this sector, and you might not get this sector all the way over here, but you're going to get them somewhere over here. So that's the goal, and that's the academic portion of that. Also, what we want to do is we want to create programs. I want 4 one-week programs in the summertime because kids are out of school during the summer. Similar to a boot camp program, 1 week, 5 days. It would be, the kids would have to stay there during that week. And there would be academics, there would be physical fitness training, there would be discipline, there would be everything. So that's the end goal, is to work with these kids. Once we get the curriculum going and once we get the pilot program completed, to see exactly where we are at. And the end result is that boot camp, 4 1-week program during the summer, maybe 70, 80 kids per that week, and just work with them. Yes, sir.
Somebody you were saying reminded me of a good friend of mine in Houston who's a probation officer, parole officer for you, and he's got his unit has like a 97% non-recidivism or whatever you call it. They don't go back. right? And what allows that to happen is they put a special program in place. It's basically a coaching program for the kids, so that the things that they work with them and teach them get reinforced on an ongoing basis. Because as you talked about earlier, you don't retain it all that long. And so the best ideas evaporate, and you go back into, the rubber band begins to go back, and you go back into the relaxed way that you were. And so I would think that there's an opportunity for you to, as you're developing this, to develop it with some kind of sustainability.
Absolutely.
That would, you'd be able to measure the outcome and have a different result.
To get 1, 2, 3.
That is the goal.
We got 4.
Or the goal, however you want to put it.
Okay.
But that's, you hit it on the head. That's where we want to go. Sustainability, because we don't want the kids to veer back into that environment. And if you go back to the environment, guess what? You go back to the thoughts that you previously had that we tried to pull them away from. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what's your age range that you're...
Age range is 7 to 19. Yes, sir.
What is the draw that brings them in? What do you use? What is your program that makes these people like you, like me, who didn't want to do anything? What is it that makes them want to come to your program?
Well, I would like to think that the mentor and the leadership and the basic skills. What we want to do eventually is everybody's not cut out to go to college. Everybody's not cut out to do this. But we want to be able to offer programs that, based on what they might not know that they can do, because it's all based on the mental attitude of where you're at. I mean, so what is the draw? I would like to think that we do a pilot program in the beginning, just to see how it works. And we have to, as we build up on this, we get the expertise, we get the right team in place to conduct coaching, to teach academically, to do all the things. We're just building on the foundation. That's why we want to run a little pilot program. And then as we grow, just like I said, the collaboration, it comes from the community, it comes from the leaders, it comes from the organization. We take these ideas from everybody based on what they see. Now, all ideas are not going to go on the table, because you cannot do 100 things at one time. Or you cannot, so we take the top ideas based on the group or whoever we're dealing with, and we form programs based on that. Yes, sir.
Something else to think about is looking at it from the young person's perspective, and I'll give you mine. When I was in 9th grade, my mom made me go to junior achievement. I'm familiar with junior achievement.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want to go. I'd be hanging out with my friends smoking cigarettes on the corner. And I was 12, 13 years old, so I went and I thought, man, this blows. So I asked my mom, and she said, no, you're going. So I went to my dad, and he, his parents smart as they are. What did mom say? So my dad says, I'm taking you. And my dad worked all day. It was, I remember, it was Thursday nights, and in Whittier, California. And I went, and I didn't want to be there until I saw another kid kind of like me, who was wanted to be cool, smoking cigarettes. And when I saw Art Cabral there, I thought, okay, he's here, I'm here. And then before you know it, and then all of a sudden we had like 6 of us, little troublemakers who were doing something good. We made, I think, jewelry, and in fact, that's what but we got to think about that. How do we get them to buy in to wanting to come, buy into the program, want to stick to it, and make themselves better? Because there's always that peer pressure, so that's never going to go away.
And James has talked about going to the schools, local schools, talking with the principals, going to the local police, going to the churches, and asking those organizations, once this pilot program is ready to go, to send people over, send some kids over. So you say, where are they going to come from? Well, they're going to come within the community.
And they know.
and the community is going to help direct them into this program, and there you go.
Which is, our foundation is our interactive right now. We don't sell that short. And they know people, and they're influencing other people. So I think for us right now, as much as we can look at absolutely the troubled kids need to be reached, but don't underestimate the power of the kids and their power to reach those kids. It may not be us, it's maybe the kids in the
Let me say one thing. Okay, now, the program I'm looking at is not all about an at-risk. To me, I feel that all kids are at risk. I don't care what economic or social background you have. We're still at risk. So let's not cut it short. Not just for the at risk for its troublemakers. It's for everybody. The non-troublemakers. So it's all about you. Yes.
And that's just what the point I was going to make is that 87% are full in Interact right now. I mean, there's a lot of 87%ers in Interact, and it's just motivating them. And I think if you give them the opportunity to expand their horizon, because like I said, there's no opportunities in the high schools to do that. So if you give them something outside of the high school and say, hey, look, you know, what is your passion? What is your desire? What do you want to do when you grow up? You know, I don't think they're hearing that. I don't even think they're hearing that from the parents. I think the only mantra they keep hearing is college, 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 college. And, you know, I'm not against college, but I do see it's a limited, even that, there's a lot of kids come out of college completely clueless. So, and they're expected, you know, they've got this 4-year degree and it's worthless in reality. So, you know, and that's my passion. My passion is to get these kids involved as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, before they make that commitment. You know, even if they go to JC for a couple of years, you know, I'm in favor, you know, go to college. You know, but if you have a passion, if you have a desire, if you have something that really you're going to enjoy, guess what? You're going to succeed. You know, you really fail at something you absolutely love to do. So that's what I'm trying to instill in these kids. So.
Anybody else have any other questions? So, in honor of you, our coaches, we will put your name in a book that goes to Grace Melvin Library here in Temecula in honor of your speak to us. So thank you very much. So we had some trivia, but we're running short on time, so to honor everybody's time, I would like to end with a quote, somewhat out of quote. God's first line of defense and offense for every situation is prayer, Joyce Meyer. So this is something that we can definitely lift up and determine how we can be a part of. So thank you. God's first line of defense and offense for every situation is prayer. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for the guests. And we meet every Tuesday here at 5:45. Meeting starts at 6, and you're welcome to come anytime. Thank you.